Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the LFG Cast episode 10. I can't believe we made it to 10 episodes. It's been a fantastic journey so far. I'm super excited. Now, tonight's episode is going to be a bit different. It's going to be a little shorter than last week's, which some of you may be like, thank God, because, boy, 40 minutes about Destiny, that's a lot. That's a lot. Some people may be like, oh, I want more. Don't worry. It's still the same podcast. It's still the same show. Let me see. So Spotify is playing. Okay, cool. So, I lost my train of thought. So tonight's episode is going to be a little bit different also because I am doing this. It was 40 minutes. It was 40 minutes. Yes, Purge. It was 40 minutes clocked in. I'm doing this episode solo tonight. Hell's Purge has a bit of a throat issue. He lost his voice, so he's going to be taking the night off to recuperate. So I hope he has a speedy recovery. Speaking of recovery, that is the topic of tonight's episode. If you follow me on Instagram, you saw that I made a little post about taking care of yourself, meaning physically, mentally, spiritually, nutritionally, all the stuff. A big thing that I kind of want to push towards as someone who creates content, something that I want to kind of like stick my flag in. Yes, I want to be the dude that's like, oh, I do all these things, I'm not funneled into one thing. But the big mantra that I want to start pushing, originally it was streamer health matters. But then I sat there and I started to realize a little bit more is that I'm not just a streamer, I'm a gamer and I'm just a person. So then I wanted to have my push be health matters. But since this is primarily a gaming channel, I know I talk about lifting and food a little bit. This is mainly a gaming channel. So one of the things I want to start pushing in 2020 is gamer health matters. And one of those things that revolves around that is self-care, whether that's recovery, whether that's just a personal day. So I've got my chat here and I'm going to ask you guys at home as well the same question that I posted on Instagram, and I'm going to ask you guys in chat the same question I posted on Instagram. What do you do to take care of yourself? Again, this could mean anything from physically, mentally, your nutrition, your hydration, your sleep, your relationships, all of that stuff. If you're having a bad day, if you're banged up, if you're mentally beat, what do you do to kind of just reset and kind of decompress and recover? One of the things that I have been noticing lately is I haven't been giving myself time to decompress. I haven't been giving myself time to recover. I've been spending too much time in my phone. I haven't been doing a lot of other things that I used to do in college. And I realized that my mindset in college was a lot different than it is now. Now, that could just have to do with graduating and getting thrown into the adult world. Who knows? But like I said in the beginning, I really want to push, and I mentioned this earlier on stream before we started the podcast, I really want 2020 to be a year where I focus on making myself happy. And that's the biggest thing for me. When I think taking care of myself, that means making myself happy, because that's the most important thing. If I'm happy, I know that I can help my fiance be happy. I can help my family get happy with whatever they have troubles with. So Hellpurge says he goes for runs and he free runs at night to decompress. Like, that's great. You know, when you're looking at it from a physical standpoint, any kind of exercise or cardiovascular activity or yoga or stretching, that's been shown to release endorphins, to release hormones in your body that help regulate things. They help regulate your stress. They help with sleep patterns. So physical activity like that is a really good thing to do when you kind of want to reset your body. I know that happened to me yesterday. So like I mentioned earlier, I've noticed that I've been way too much in my phone, too much on TikTok, too much on Instagram, too much on YouTube. So yesterday, one of the things I did to kind of reset my mind and kind of take a step back is I started reading a little bit more. I took my issue of Game Informer that I had lying around and I started reading. I didn't read the whole magazine, mainly because I wasn't interested in everything that they talked about. And I never used to do that. I kind of put myself in this notion of, oh, I'm a content creator, so I have to know everything about every fucking game that exists. No, I'm not a gaming journalist. That's not what my channel's about. That's not what my YouTube channel's about. That's not what my podcast is about. I'm just a gamer. So I was like, I'm just going to read about the games that interest me. So this issue of Game Informer was a four-part cover story about BlizzCon. So they talked about Overwatch 2, Diablo 4, the Hearthstone expansion, and World of Warcraft Shadowlands. So I sat down at work in between what I was doing at work and my job and everything, and I read the articles that intrigued me. I read about Overwatch 2 because I did play Overwatch 1 for a time. I read the article about World of Warcraft because I'm extremely excited for Shadowlands. And then as the day went on, I went to my phone, I listened to some music, I listened to a video or two, I went on Instagram for a little bit. I didn't just shut my phone off completely, but I made sure that I wasn't like this the whole day. I made sure that I took my eyes away from a screen. I read. I kind of used the other part of my brain instead of just mind-numbing, turning it off, and just staring blank for 10 hours. And then I went to the gym. So when I went to the gym, I put one of my favorite albums to listen to at the gym is Aggressive by Beartooth. I think it's got some bangers, and I think it's got some really good like pump-up tracks. So that's what I listened to. So I put that on at the gym and I just went. I hit that ground running, and I had a really good workout. I hadn't been to the gym for over a week, and part of me was a little tired, and part of me was like, oh, I don't know if I want to go to the gym, but I went. I put my effort in. You know, I gave what I thought and felt was 100%. I listened to my body. That's another thing about taking care of yourself, guys, is listening to your body, because when you don't listen to your body, you can get hurt. So my back's been bothering me for a couple weeks now, right? And when I went to the gym to do abs, I felt my lower back. I felt that like sharpness, that nerve pain. So I didn't do abs. Not because I didn't want to, but because I didn't want to hurt myself anymore. So that's another big thing. I should really start writing things down because I get very scattered-brained. But the point I'm trying to make is I went to the gym. I, did my typical routine, right? So my typical gym routine that I like, and I do it because it keeps me consistent and it keeps me going to the gym, is I walk on the treadmill for 5 minutes at a decent-ish pace at a decent incline. Nothing too major, but something to just kind of get my heart rate up a little bit. And then I go to my lifts, and I do all my lifts. And I like to do my lifts in order. But last night, specifically, when there wasn't a machine open or I had to kind of switch things up, I switched things up. Because I'd rather just keep going and keep my adrenaline up than stop and kind of like, jerk around for like 5 minutes while I wait for someone to get off a machine. So I was like, no, if something's taken, you're going to find the same exercise on a different machine, or you're going to go to the next exercise and you're just going to cycle through until everything's done. And I did. And I had what I considered to be a really good workout. So that was the first thing. And let me tell you, when I got out of that workout, for a small second until I came home and started doing a bunch of stuff, I felt so just clear in my head. That's one of the things that I know I needed. I needed that. Not only did I need to step away from my phone, but I needed to get back into the gym. I needed to move. I needed to be active, because as a person, we're meant to be active. That's something that really helped me. Now, maybe you yourself aren't like me, right? Maybe you yourself are not into lifting, right? Maybe you're just into running. So then do what Purge does, Go for a run, go for a free run, go for a jog, do some sprints, Do that. If you're not into running and you're into Doing football drills, get an agility ladder, run your drills, you know, practice footwork. If you're into yoga, do yoga. Do any kind of physical activity that you like, because what I've come to learn is when you do things you like, you're more likely to continuously do them. And that's super, super important, at least to me. So another thing, and this kind of goes across the reason why this podcast is called this podcast and why I'm calling my community the LFG network. So one of the things is, we just talked about exercise, right? The lift, that's the L. The other thing is food. Now, I'm not saying go eat whatever the fuck you want, right? Ooh, excuse me. We gotta cut that. I'm trying not to curse as much. I'm not saying go and eat whatever the hell you want, right? What I am saying is make sure you're eating enough and make sure you're eating good foods. Now, I'm not perfect, so I'm not going to sit here and spout rhetoric on like how you should only eat good, grass-fed, organic, cage-free, range-free. Like, I'm not going to say that because I don't practice that. I'd rather be honest with you guys and tell you what I do and then tell you how I'm trying to change that and how I'm trying to fix that. So one thing that I've been trying to do more is I've been trying to really kind of pay attention to what I'm eating and how much I'm eating. Because I may have talked about it on the podcast before, but my big problem is that I eat too much. And when I eat too much, that's why I gained weight, is because I just keep eating. I just keep eating and eating and eating and eating. And I'm not doing the exercise to, say, use those calories to build muscle. So lately, and it's not perfect, there are days I mess up. There are days where I eat a little too much, or like last night, for example, you know, I had a little pizza. You know, maybe I really didn't need that pizza, but I ate it. Or maybe if I had the pizza, I didn't need the dressing I put on it. You know, things like that are really what I'm starting to pay attention to. So lately I've been eating oatmeal every morning, and that's fine. There's nothing wrong with oatmeal, but I wanted something different. And I said to myself, well, I have eggs. I have turkey bacon I just bought, and I have egg whites I just bought, and I love omelets. That's one of my favorite things for breakfast. I'm not a big... I don't intermittent fast. There are days where if I just don't have time to eat, I won't eat, but typically during the week, I like eating breakfast. It helps me throughout my day. It wakes me up a little bit. It makes me feel a little bit better and a little more energized. So instead of taking the easy way out and just making oatmeal in the morning, I made an omelet last night. I made my typical omelet, which is 2 egg whites, 1 whole egg beaten, 2 strips of turkey bacon chopped up, and you just pour the egg whites in. You know, you let them start to cook. You put the chopped turkey bacon on top, and then I took some fat-free cheese and I put it on one side and I flipped it like an omelet. This morning I put that in a carb-balanced tortilla with some sriracha, and I had a breakfast wrap. And I felt really good. It was delicious, you know? So it's things like that. If you know that when you stress out, you eat junk food and you feel like crap afterwards, and then you just like hate yourself, find ways to work around it. If you know that your immediate go-to is, you know, let's say a burger, right? Let's say you get stressed. The first thing you do is you go to McDonald's, Wendy's, Burger King, and you get a burger. You get a big, greasy, processed burger. I'm not saying don't have the burger, but find a workaround. If you can, if you have the time and you have the money, instead of going to Burger King and buying 1 burger and fries and a soda for $8, go to the supermarket. Buy some whatever kind of ground beef you prefer. I've been getting into like the leaner ground beefs just because it's something I want to try and test. You can get regular ground beef, whatever. Get ground beef, you know, get whatever you want to make your burger and go home and make a burger. Honestly, it'll probably be a little bit, you know, hopefully it's a little bit healthier than what you're going out to eat, unless you're just piling on stuff on top of it. But instead of having someone go, here's your food, make your food. Maybe that's something you like me. I like cooking, so making your food, you get that time to just kind of relax and unwind, and you get to prep your food, and you get to season it just how you like it, cook it just how you like it, toast your buns, because most burger joints won't toast their buns. You know, maybe you like burger sauce, and Burger King and Wendy's and McDonald's don't have it. So you go and you take some reduced fat mayo, some reduced sugar ketchup, put it in a bowl with some sweet relish. You mix that up, put a little bit on your bun. You know, do that. That way you can be like, all right, I can make these burgers and modify them to make them somewhat healthier. And instead of having one Whopper for like 800 calories, I can have like 2 burgers modified for, let's say, 600 calories or something like that, you know? Or instead of getting ground beef, say, get turkey meat. Something like that. Eat your fruits and vegetables. That's another big thing. If you notice you're not eating things that you should, fruit, vegetable, proteins, good carbs, water, if you know you're not hydrating, like I haven't had enough water since I came home. I'm gonna go fill my bottle up after we record this. Just do it. Even if you gotta force yourself, even if you're just like, I don't want to eat fruits, I just want fruit snacks. Like, no, like go get some fruit, get a piece of fruit and just eat it. Because I guarantee after you do it, and this is with a lot of these things that we're gonna talk about and have talked about tonight, after you do it, I guarantee your mindset changes. Like I went to, you know, I had a sandwich for lunch, right? I forgot my banana at home. So I went to Quick Check on my lunch break because I wanted the Lenny and Larry's cookies, right? 2 for $4. So I got 2 cookies. And then I said, you know what? I said, I want to save this cookie for later, but I want something else. I'm still kind of hungry. So what did I do? I bought a fruit cup. I bought a fruit salad with honeydew, cantaloupe, grapes, and pineapple for like, you know, $3 because Quick Check's expensive. That's convenience store prices. And I bought a banana. And you know what? I ate that fruit cup. It was delicious. The honeydew was ripe. It was sweet. It was soft enough. You know, the grapes were perfectly ripe and sweet and a little tart and juicy. Cantaloupe, I don't know how cantaloupe's supposed to taste when it's ripe, so I guess it was ripe. And then pineapple, which I was like, yo, I love pineapple. I don't buy pineapple enough. I'm going to start buying pineapple. The whole point I'm trying to make is if you know that the foods you're eating stress you out and they make you feel bad for eating them, change up how you eat them. You know, if you love ice cream, right? And like you need ice cream. Like you gotta have ice cream every night. Like you don't drink beer. You know, you don't really eat fast food, but every night, that's your like comfort, that's your wind down. Maybe don't get Ben & Jerry's. Try these other brands that are coming out. Halo Top, Arctic Zero, Enlightened. Try these things out because, you know, it may not be like as creamy, as rich, and as like topping filled as Ben & Jerry's, but you could try Halo Top and it could just hit that sweet tooth and just like still relax you and decompress you and just be like, oh, you know what, this is nice. You look on the back and, you know, maybe you eat the whole thing, which I wouldn't recommend, but eating a whole pint of Halo Top is better than eating a whole pint of Ben & Jerry's. Or you're like, no, I eat too much, so I want to go by the serving size. You look at it and you're like, wow, 2 servings of Halo Top is equivalent or less to 1 serving of Ben & Jerry's. Go with the Halo Top. That way you're still getting what you want, but, you know, you're not eating the things that stress you out. Sometimes, if you've been working really hard, if you're eating really well, and you want to go, like say you want to go out with your friends, go out with your friends. You know, just think, be conscious of your decision instead of mindlessly just going through the day. That's one thing that has been my biggest problem is I'm just mindlessly shutting down and just going through the day in, day out, week in, week out, month in, you know, you get the point. And that's when I don't make decisions. That's when I don't take care of myself. That's when I get stressed and I get anxious and I get upset about nothing. So that's another thing is make sure you guys eat and you guys eat good foods, but you enjoy what you're eating. So now I'm going to ask chat, since we got the lift part, I'm going to ask chat and I'm going to ask you guys at home, what is your go-to food? Or, like, do you think you're doing okay with your nutrition? Do you think you're eating okay? Or do you think that's something that you could work on and you could, you know, eat a little bit better or eat a little bit less and take care of yourself? And, you know, let me know. What's one healthy food that's like your go-to, and when you eat it, you feel really good about it? Unique Rainbow says definitely work on what you're eating or like how much you're eating. So like one of my go-tos that makes me feel really good, like I said, those omelets. I'll bet Peach. What's up, Hose Mad? How you doing, man? How much you eat? That's good, man. Like now you know how to work on that, and you can go and can you sub or no? I mean, that's entirely up to you, not up to me. Minimize food intake and what I eat. Like, see, those are all good things. If that's something that you got to do and take care of, then go take care of that. Okay? So another thing you could do to take care of yourself, obviously, is, oh, snap. Hose Mad just described with a tier 1. Thanks, my man or my gal. So that's another thing. And then say, you know, sleep is your problem. Then get a yes or no answer is always good. It's so hard limiting because you want to eat it. I know it's hard to limit because you want to eat it. But you know, that's something that you've got to really sit there, and sometimes you got to give yourself that tough love. Sometimes taking care of yourself means giving yourself a little tough love. Like sometimes you got to sit there and you got to look at, I don't know, let's use this controller. Say this controller is like a cupcake, right? And you're like, I really want this cupcake. I really want this cupcake. But you know, you only want that cupcake because you're depressed, or you're anxious, or you're stressed, or you're mad. And that's when you gotta be like, no, I don't need this cupcake. As much as I want it, I know that if I don't eat it, I will feel better in the long term. And it's things like that. Sleep is another big thing. Make sure you guys get enough sleep, because that is something that, like, I don't even get enough of. Getting enough sleep can change your entire mood, right? You can't say no to the cupcake. I mean, sometimes you got to learn. It takes baby steps. So sleep is another important thing. I don't get enough sleep. Make sure you get enough sleep. Get naps in. Sleep in on the weekends when you don't have to do anything. Don't stay up till 3 a.m. playing video games, as fun as it is. That's one thing I started learning, and that's another reason why I'm not streaming on Fridays anymore, is because I know that it's taking too much energy out of me and it's not good for me. So if I don't have work on Friday and I sit there Thursday night and I finish editing the podcast, I'm like, oh man, it's only like 10 o'clock. Like I could play World of Warcraft until like midnight and then go to bed and like sleep until 8. Or I could just go to bed when my fiance goes to bed. I can go to bed at 10:30, 11 o'clock, even though I have the day off tomorrow. Why do I gotta attack you like that? I ain't trying to attack nobody. I'm just being honest, because this is stuff I would want to hear as a person. So instead of staying up super late and I know I have my day off tomorrow, I can go to bed, catch up on my sleep in, wake up, feel refreshed, and then have a productive day where I'm not pounding back coffee or soda or energy drinks or sugar and stuff like that. And it plays out in the long run. Everything kind of pieces together. So we've talked about lifting. We've talked about food. We've talked about the L and the F of LFG Network. So let's talk about the G, right? We're gamers. I mean, if you're listening to this and you're a gamer, I hope you're a gamer. If not, you're going to hear the gamer's perspective. Taking care of yourself. And I get, hold on, we got one pop-up response from Unique. I get 6.5 hours of sleep for school, and I wake up at 6. Feels bad, man. I mean, yeah, that's kind of close to what I get. You know, I'm not gonna lie or front, but I understand how it feels. That's why I try to catch up on my sleep when I can. So now the G. How do you take care of yourself as a gamer or when it comes to gaming? Well, there's a lot of different ways. If you have a backlog list, instead of trying to play all your games at once, play one game. If you're starting to get really tilted at a boss, put the game down. Take a break. The big thing, and again, something that I'm facing with, the big thing is let yourself know it's okay to take a break. It's okay to stop playing a game. It's okay to play something else. Don't force yourself to play games, and don't force yourself to play games in a manner that's not fun to you. I made a TikTok a while back where I said, if you're not a completionist, don't play a game to 100% completion. Or say you're like, no, I want 100% this game, and halfway through you're like, oh, this isn't fun. I don't want to do this. Stop doing it. It's okay. You can stop. Nobody's got to tell you yes or no. Nobody's got to be like, oh, no, it's okay. You could stop. Like, if you need permission to do things like that, and you're looking for someone, I'm giving you permission to play the game however you like so you can enjoy it and be happy. Otherwise, you ain't need nobody's permission. Go play the game how you want. If you want to sit there and grind your face off in Apex until you have max Apex rank every season, go do it. If you want to sit there and you want to get every item in World of Warcraft, every mount, pet battle, every tabard, every item, every transmog, every legendary, go do it. As long as you're having fun. That's taking care of yourself. When it comes to gaming, is having fun. I'm not saying games can't be difficult or they can't be challenging. If you like the challenge, play the game that's challenging. If you like the Sekiro or the Dark Souls games, play that. What's your strategy when you get mad at a game? It depends. I've thrown my controller once in my life, and that was during a Ratchet and Clank playthrough against the final boss. Depends what game I'm playing. Depends what situation I'm in. Sometimes I beat my head against the wall and just keep trying until I finally do it. Sometimes I take a break. I do whatever I can to make sure that I'm having fun with it. And I know that's a lot easier said than done. And trust me, I'm working on it too. But that's what I do. So I just noticed how long we've been recording for. And I know I said this one was going to be shorter. It is by like 10 minutes. But yeah, I guess the takeaway from this is when you take care of yourself, do whatever you need to for whatever reason you need to. If you need a mental health day, you need to call out of work. I've done it before. My fiance's done it before. It's okay. If you sit there and you come home and you're just so stressed and your room's a mess, and you haven't showered and you just feel gross and you just feel overwhelmed, stop. Clean your room. I guarantee if you clean your room, you'll feel a little better. And then go shower. Do things that you know will make you feel better, make you feel happier, help you decompress. That's the main part of taking care of yourself, is listening to your body, looking at your environment, and adjusting. Always adjusting. And then if you get into a groove when if you're like, oh man, I really like cleaning my room once a week. Clean your room once a week. It's as easy as that. Not easy, but it's as simple as that. Because again, things are easier said than done. But with all that being said, thank you guys so much for listening, and thank you guys so much for watching. If you are listening on any of the podcast platforms, and want to hear more, please share. I can't talk. We're going to run this outro again. This is the joy of recording live. I can do this. Thank you so much for listening, and thank you so much for watching. If you guys are listening to the podcast form of this, please be sure to subscribe on whatever platform you enjoy the most. Spotify, Anchor, Apple, Google, whatever. If you're on Apple Podcast, please feel free to leave a 5-star rating because it does help the podcast to reach other people. Other than that, just feel free to share the podcast with anyone you think may find it useful or may find it helpful. If you're watching on YouTube, thank you so much. If you liked the video, obviously click the like button. And if you want to see more of my content, feel free to hit the subscribe button and click the notification bell down over there. And let me know in the comments or somewhere on the internet, how do you take care of yourself? What's one thing you do to take care of yourself physically, mentally, spiritually, nutritionally, hydration-wise, whatever the case may be? How do you do it? What helps you? You know, maybe we can get a conversation going around. Because like I said at the beginning of the show, I want 2020 to be the year where we start talking about gamer health mattering. You know, I'm sick. It's so funny because I look like the stereotype of the typical gamer. Kind of big guy, you know, facial hair, glasses, curly hair, always looks a mess. You know, things like that. But that's not who we all are as gamers. We're all diverse. But one thing is important. Our health matters just like everyone else's. And I feel like there is either this misconception or there's this feeling that gamers, not that their health doesn't matter, but sometimes gamers don't pay attention to their health. And I kind of want to start this conversation, and this is how I want to go forward with 2020. And I really want to focus my content on stuff like this. So again, I plugged all that stuff. I'm not going to do it again. Thank you guys once more for listening. And until next time, don't forget to lift, feast, and game.